Hi, my name is Rachel Brewster, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to schedule a day trip in Europe.
Trying to let you know 사인을 보내 signal 보내 hey! I must let you know.
Now, I was living abroad for the last 2 years, and I had a lot of adventures and misadventures in my international travel. And one of the things I learned was the beauty of the day trip. So basically, a day trip is a place, a town, a city that just doesn't have enough notoriety or attention or things to do for it to be on the major attractions list of Europe. So a day trip is not going to be Paris, Rome, Barcelona. It's going to be smaller places like Sitges, Salzburg, Austria, Florence and Pisa, Versailles. All of those smaller places. Now, a day trip, in order to really rock a day trip, you're going to want it to be about 45 minutes to an hour and a half away from a major city. For example, if you are in Paris, you should probably be in Paris for about 3 days. It has a lot of things to do and exciting stuff to do. However, you should actually plan to be there for 4 days because 3 days in Paris and a day trip to nearby Versailles. Now, Versailles, it has this massive palace and these beautiful gardens, and you can easily spend a full day there, and it's amazing and wonderful, and it's nice to be out of the city and more like, it's not in like Nowhereville, France, but it's outside of like a major city and the hustle and bustle and all of the city life. You get more of like, it kind of feels like you're going back in time. So you have this really unique experience just by doing a day trip, and you can pair it with the major city like Paris. Another example would be when I went to Munich, I did a day trip in Salzburg, Austria. Now, I had never heard of Salzburg, Austria before, except for the fact that when I was a kid, whenever I would get sick, my mom would make me watch The Sound of Music and stay home. Make me watch. I friggin' loved The Sound of Music. And I learned while I was living abroad that most of it was shot in Salzburg, Austria. Now, I had never heard of Salzburg before. I knew it was probably going to be just a day trip and a onesie thing, and I wasn't going to fly all the way to Salzburg, Austria just to see this place. However, on the trip that I was on, I stayed in Munich, which is about an hour away from Salzburg. So Munich is about a 2-day city, and so I was in Munich for 2 days, but I scheduled my Airbnb for 3 days because on that third day, I went to Salzburg, Austria. And it was about an hour trip by train. I spent the entire day there and got to see all of the sights and went on some very like touristy guides of like, this is where they shot The Sound of Music. Actually, I say touristy guide like it's a super lame thing, but that was awesome. Like they took us to the Garden of The Sound of Music, and I was like, this doesn't look like it at all. And they said, well, because I thought that the garden was so much bigger, and they said it was shot with a wide frame lens to make it look super massive. So that was really interesting and an experience that I wouldn't have gotten if I just stayed in the city life. But again, you're going to want to pair it with a more popular destination. So Munich paired very well with Salzburg, and Paris paired very well with Versailles. So your day trip should, number one, pair with another major city, and number two, only be 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half away from that major city, because God forbid it's like 2 hours away. Oh, I once did a day trip that was 2 hours, and it was painful because I had to wake up super early. I was on the train for 2 hours. I was exhausted by the time I got there. I enjoyed the heck out of the place, but then I had to go back for another 2 hours super late at night, and it was just really exhausting. So when you're thinking about doing a day trip, really consider how long it's going to take you to get there by public transportation. My rule of thumb is about 45 minutes to hour, hour and a half. I've done 2 hours, but anything more than that, girl, that is not a day trip. Think about, like, if you really want to go there, then you're going to need to grab your bags and actually transport yourself over there for a longer period of time. So those are the ways that you should rock a day trip, pairing them with a major city and making sure they're only about 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half away. I hope that that is helpful travel advice to you. If you have had any really like exciting day trips that you absolutely love and want to share that experience, consider putting a comment in the comment section below. I love hearing about other people's travels and what they've done, and that gives me ideas about what I can do next time. Also, if you want more inspiration and motivation for your own travel adventures and the misadventures that come with them, consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button below, and I will see you next time. Ciao for now.